5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Welcome back. Yes, we're back again. Part 2. It's like we've never been away, and I hope you are. Let's hope we get a better audience this time, eh, Brad?
Hopefully, you never know, mate. You never know.
Good evening, good afternoon, and all that we usually do. Welcome along, LTID TV from Leicester Till I Die. Wherever you are in the world, you are welcome. We're going to be going through the players from, as you can see there, McAteer all the way through to Mr. Winks. If you missed the show earlier, you can catch it up on Leicester Till I Die, LTID TV on YouTube, where we went from AU through to Mavadidi. So we're doing the second half of the team, and there's a very good reason why we're doing it in 2 bits. Basically, we both needed a piss, didn't we?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So there we go. Thanks very much, Craig. As he says there, liked and shared. Please do. Thank you very much. So, if you're listening or if you're watching live on YouTube, thank you very much. Do join in with your marks. Just make a little note of which player you're talking about. If you're watching on catch up, comments below. And if you're listening via your favourite podcast platform, whatever that is, thank you very much for lending me your ears. Right, let's get this. Have you got your red? I've got my red pen. Have you got yours ready?
I've got my black pen.
Oh, yeah. One job, Brad.
I know.
Right, McAteer. Pre-Ruud van Nistelrooy, that is at the end of when we had Steve Cooper. We gave a C to. You gave him a C, and I gave him a C. I've always liked McAteer. I know Craig, who's on here, Leicester Craig, isn't a big fan of his. I always think it's been a little bit unfair. There's a little bit of me that thinks we may actually see the back of him. I hope not, but if Fatawu and Mavadidi are both fit and playing, but then it's a hell of a lot longer season, isn't it?
Yeah, that is true. It remains to be seen. I did say that I was hoping, and to a degree I felt like I was proved wrong, because I was a little bit worried, in Fatu's absence, that he wasn't getting on, that he wasn't quite up to the Premier League standard. But in that late run of games, he entered the redemption our FC class, and I think proved to a lot of people, including maybe even himself, that he had it about him to be an established first team player. And he's not going to be left lurking in the dark for a club or anything like that next season. Somebody, if it's not here at Leicester, is going to want him in their first team, because he is a very good young player. Well, if I say young, he's in his early 20s still, but he showed a lot of character, a lot of heart, a lot of fight at times, Chris. In them games, in that mini run, he got players wound up and got them booked. And with a certain Mr. Goat, moving on now, we need a bit of aggression in that team that's going to get in opponents' faces and get under their skin. And he proved that he could be that player come the start of next season.
I mean, he looks like a gust of wind to blow him over. But like you say, he was really, really getting in there. I wish they'd put these in alphabetical order. Oh, if I click that button, they do. Who knew?
How that works, isn't it, Chris?
It is. It is. If you just click your button and he's not on the list. Would you bloody believe it? McAteer. Oh, there he is. Yeah. I actually scored his first goal for Ireland the other day.
Yeah.
Scored
his first Leicester goal as well, didn't he? Coming into the season. So,
who was that against? I think who he scored in the game. It could have been. It could well have been. Yeah.
It was either Southampton or Ipswich because he was at home, wasn't it?
Could have been it. No, it was Ipswich, wasn't it? Because Vardy got the first.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he got his 500. He got his 200, and McAteer got his first. So, well, Premier League goal for Vardy, it wasn't. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Yes, but McAteer, 23 starts. 23 matches, 11 starts. Here's where we went with it. Again, it's 6 of one and a half dozen of the other. B plus A. I hope that we move heaven and earth to keep him.
Yeah.
Craig just said Ipswich. Thank you, Craig.
Yeah, I do as well, because I think, like you said, a lot of games next season. I've already stated this before. You get through the first few rounds of the Carabao Cup. It's a 50-game season before without any further involvement, because round 3 of that and the FA Cup, that's 4 games on top of a 46-game season. And there's versatility, Chris, that's going to be needed. Again, we could be restricted with what we're able to do. I think regardless of our financial situation, we're going to be restricted, maybe in a transfer situation or whatever. Having a player that can potentially play both sides of the field is going to be beneficial for Leicester next season. I think he's definitely a player we're going to need to next season, and then maybe he's a player we move on, Chris, because I think he's just vital to Project Youth Rebuild, if you will, is what I'm going to call it. With news that's entered Leicester fans' ears over the last day or so, with youngsters, etc. I think he's an integral part of the next era of Leicester, if you will. We had that Premier League and Champions League and Europa League and Conference running inside of Maddison and Tillmans, etc. I think McAteer could be the not the spearhead of it, but he could be an integral cog in that next Leicester City era that we've got to start with this season.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, Vicky says there, Casey will go far. I think he will. I really do. I just think, like you say, I just think these are players that, and unfortunately, if we do have an embargo, the players that we want to sell may not get a buyer, who's going to buy Dakova Reed, etc. And those that we want to keep, we may stay. Now, I haven't included Monga in here because while we're in the M's, but obviously, Wayne is absolutely enjoying himself because he signed the new contract, albeit for 1 year. But it does mean that come a year's time, if he does move on, that we can actually ask a fee for him, hopefully. But McAteer, Monga, it's hard to say when you're talking about Evans and McAteer and Evans and Monga. McAteer's quite an old hand compared to them, isn't he?
Yeah. So ironically, if over the next 4 or 5 years let's probably go 2 or 3 seasons, Chris, he's going to be that experienced youngster that Jake Evans, Monga, and that are going to going to look towards as maybe a future captain or at least a leader of some sorts on the pitch. So, yeah, you talk about, having a leader on the pitch with experience like Vestergaard and someone else, I can't remember his name, who you mentioned, used to centre back though.
Cody.
Oh, right, yeah, that, yeah. But you're going to need that for the next 3 or 4 seasons with your likes of McAteer leading the line in that sense, Chris.
Yeah. Talking of Connor Cody.
The TalkSport Fan Network is the ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts,
including Leicester Till I Die, independent analysis and reaction for the Foxes faithful.
The TalkSport Fan Network.
Unbeatable club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Follow the podcast on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Sorry, just had to do that.
Well, that is 10% extra, isn't it?
Yeah. Hi Ronald, how are you doing? Like I say, I just hope we can, because we can't keep letting these youngsters go. We've got to have a future, and I think he has, to be honest with you. I think he's turned it around well. Right. Oh my God. Now, Ndidi, I think we all thought he might have gone last season. At the end of last season, nobody came in for him. The player that we've seen this season and the player that we saw last season are poles and poles apart.
Yeah, there are. And there's probably the obvious reason for that. There's been a lot of injuries and all sorts going on with Ndidi. But we was in the Championship, which is ironically obviously where we'll be next season. So he had a bit more freedom and a lot less of a challenge, with the greatest of respect to teams in the Championship. Then he had a lot tougher opposition and quality of players in front of him in the Premier League compared to the Championship. That's not to say every game that Will played in the Championship was brilliant. It wasn't. At times we were quite annoyed with him. And I just feel like, you said it with Daka in part 1, Chris, you kind of said enough's enough, as in the sense that we need to move on and move him on. Well, I feel like his time is up here, Ndidi, and that 9 million release clause, I would take that now, and I would not care if it was somebody in this division that we're going to be in next season, or Saudi Arabia. Just 9 million is very much something you should be advertising on the club website, mate. Come and get an Ndidi, only 9.99, if you will. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Craig's got a C for him, so shall we see what you and me went?
Yeah.
Do you know how many times, and we're up to the M's now, so we're literally, I always think personally as M has been halfway through the alphabet. Don't know if it is or not, but we're up to the M's, we've just finished, we're on the N's now. Do you know how many times we've agreed? Yes, 1. And we'll make that 2, because we both went for a D+. He's not been played in the role, and obviously he had his injuries as well, but he's not been played in the role that he was played in last season, was he?
No, he wasn't. And to be fair, we got born off on loan and signed out Canoe, so he was never going to play in that more advanced role. The thing is with Ndidi is sometimes it was his own fault that he went missing, and sometimes he was kind of redacted back down to that babysitting Mendy role that he used to have under Rodgers, where it felt like not so much babysitting this time, but it felt like he was being restricted by having Winks or Samare or some other useless fuck. Ben, was it? Trash or rubbish? No, Tip? No, Skip. Sorry, that was it. I got there in the end. Yeah, next to him. That he kind of just wasn't as involved in it, Chris. But he did have a purple patch, didn't he, Chris? Where even a certain Miss Kate applauded his efforts and abilities. Well, please for you.
Yeah.
Kate gets it for Wolf, don't you worry.
Yes, you're quite right. Well done for remembering.
Yeah, so up here for thinking.
Yeah.
So he did have a purple patch where he kind of looked a little bit like Wolf of old. Unfortunately, like most things this season, it never lasted. So I think this is probably one of them grades where you'd say that's the most spot on analysis of a player's season in total. We're not just adjusting it, going off being an A and dropping down to B like with a Madsen or anything like that. This is a spot on grade for a 38 game season.
Yeah. Michael quite rightly says another player played out of position, so he wasn't at his best. Definitely, like you say, quite often it was his partner that was bringing him down. I would agree on that. And look, we've agreed on the 2 out of 17 isn't bad, is it? Really?
No. And just so you know, Chris, I did do the maths and counting on my fingers and my face. You are quite correct. M is middle of the alphabet. It is also the unlucky number 13, with being 26 letters in the alphabet. There's 13th was M. So maybe Monday the 13th should be the unluckiest day of the week because that starts with an M.
Well, I think it's Friday the 13th this week.
No, it is. But what I mean, it is. But it should, ironically.
Hang on. Sorry, mate. Did you say 26 letters in the alphabet?
There isn't there?
I can only count 25. I don't know why.
I should have seen that one coming. I should have really.
I'm available on the radio every Saturday and Sunday morning, 7 to 10, by the way. Hi, Luke. My Have Athletic United FC home shirt, Adidas Black 2023, the 17's kit replica. Ray's gone boo. Oh, come on, Ray. It was clean. I can't keep them clean and funny. You've got to choose which you want. Anyway, that was sorry. If I don't laugh at my jokes, nobody else does, Now, Mr. Okoli. Do you remember him?
I do, Chris. I do.
Apparently, he could be on his way back to Italy.
Yeah, maybe we're sharing the same, Uber to the airport as Koulibaly. Because clearly by our earlier grades, Chris, he was starting to make a bit of an impression on us fans. I will say this now. There is obviously a few players that match this criteria. If we don't sack Ruud, sell him because he's just not going to play under Ruud. We already know that. If we do sack Ruud and do replace him with somebody, I don't know, with a brain that isn't Russell Martin, thank you, Rangers. Can't wait for him to be 18 points off Celtic in December and he's sacked.
And can we just say as well, also a big thank you going out there to Middlesbrough, who it looks may be taking Steven Gerrard.
Oh, thank God for that. Yeah, don't do that to us. And obviously Frank Lampard's doing good enough at Coventry that they'll keep him. And also, for me, Chris, he's one of them where I'd understand if he went, but if we get a new manager in, maybe, I don't know, from someone who's got experience in this division, knows how to work without spending money on a shoestring budget, Sean Dyche, keep him because he'll get the best out of a defender like Okoli. He really will.
Yeah, he probably will because, his sides are very defensive, as we know. But I do seriously take your point there. I want to just quickly go back to Ndidi, if I may. Because he had 5 assists during the season, right?
Yeah.
That was all under Cooper.
Wow. If that ever tells you again about poor managerial skills. Yeah,
exactly. Well, Craig's gone Okoli as a D. Ray's gone. Cody's got great talent. Would like to see him get a chance at Leicester. We saw flashes. We did see flashes, and we saw a goal as well. And what happens when you score a goal under Ruud van Nistelrooy?
Yeah, get dropped.
Exactly. That is the 1% answer.
I know, right? And I've never got a 1% on that show either. I know that show.
No, I never get past 50. I've got to be honest with you. But yeah, it's one of those that if the answer is rude, what is the question? Let's see what we voted for with O'Coley. You went down from a C plus to a D. I got to say I went down as well, and I enjoyed it, so I might go down again. I went down from a C to a C minus. I think it's very unfair that he hasn't had more chances because he did have that purple patch. Say purple patch. I think he was chosen for about 2 or 3 games in a row, scored a goal, and like you say, disappeared. I would hope that he's going to stay.
Yeah, same here, Chris. We know he's not if it's Ruud in charge, but if he doesn't, I hope the new manager is able to convince him to stay. Yes. One good thing is, Chris, I think he came here on a 4-year contract, so it's not like Leicester need to sell him with the assets they've got.
No. But do we want another player that's just going to be sat there earning however many thousands a week and doing nothing? Right, I must admit, the first time I saw him was in the pre-season friendly. His first touch, he scored an own goal. And
he was just copying Wout Faes. Do you remember against Liverpool where he put 2 in? Well, we scored all goals.
Oh, your favourite Wout Faes scoring own goals. Oh my goodness, Brad.
I know. Well, at least it's not like my favourite, and unlike your favourite, who gave away 2 penalties in about 2 starts. Who was that? Who was that? It was Connor Crap Cody.
I don't know who you mean. Right, moving on, sir. Mr. Ricardo. You gave him a D. I gave him a C. Unfortunately, and we could have probably said this for the last 2 seasons, he's missed most of the seasons through injury. For me, and we'll come to the ratings in a minute, but for me, I don't know if we can get rid of him, to be honest with you, because I'm just see if I'm going to just try and pick it just and find him here. He's just a sick note now, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He has been for a while. He's probably one of them players that when they had the big injuries that some players had, we all wanted him to come back, take 3 or 4 months to get back up to pace, but then would have kicked on and the old Ricky would have returned. And we had that season, ironically, in the Championship where he kind of darted around getting injured. It didn't happen. But as soon as we got in the Premier League and the pace of the Premier League happened, we knew the book stopped. And the only reason I still see him in a Leicester shirt next season, Chris, is going to be his wage. He will probably have to take himself I don't know if it'd be a substantial pay cut. I don't know if it'd be a substantial one to what he's on now. I'm not entirely sure, but I can imagine for obvious reasons he's been in, he's been one of our higher earners. But yeah, it's almost been the tragic fall of Ricardo Pereira. You could put it in like one of them, like a 30-second upload video, the tragic downfall of Ricardo Pereira, because his playing time's been minimal. And the last few games, Chris, it wasn't even worth knowing he was on the pitch.
Well, we'll have a look at that in a second. Did you know, and not a lot of people know this, that he could actually, his main position is right back. What 2 of the positions do you think he can play?
Right wing.
Yes. I'll give you that. Right midfield. Yes, I'll give you that.
And right centre back.
No. Give you one more guess.
He's got right back, right wing back. inverted wing back, which is the same. Just fancy.
yeah.
Centre mid?
No, I will tell you, and this is according to Transfer Market, who are pretty hot on these things, aren't they? They are a respected website. He can actually play left back. So, do you know what? Next season, why don't we have Ricardo at left back and James Justin at right back? Ricky said go goalie. I've just done a comparison between Ricardo and James. Now, Ricardo is 31. James Justin is actually 27. I thought he was younger than that.
He's young when we got him off Luton. It just feels like he's been here a lot longer.
Yeah,
and he's a bit older than what he is.
Yeah. Height 175 for Ricardo, 183. Ricardo can only use his right foot, apparently. James Justin can use both.
Could have
James Justin joined 1 year after Ricardo's, but Ricardo has got another year left on his contract. 2026 it runs out, exactly the same as James Justin. But I'm sorry, I can see Ricardo under Ruud van Nistelrooy. Can't you just see Ricardo on the left and Justin on the right? I mean,
you can. Maybe Ruud wasn't sold that information. Who knows what we would have seen?
Yeah. Thank God we didn't. 10 appearances he made this season. 11% of those was a start, which is about 2. We saw glimpses, didn't we, of him? Like Tony said, he's going nowhere on 70 grand a week.
Yeah, that's my biggest thing.
Yeah. And look, you can't. I mean, these players, they may ask for more money, etc. But we don't have to give it to them. And if we give it to them, they're not going to say no. It's not their fault. You know what I mean? You know, his agent man said, "Guess what? Shall we ask for 70 grand a week? Shall we try it? Just see what happens." Yeah, they said it's yes straight away. We should have asked for 80. You know. So it's not their fault. We saw glimpses of him when he was running into the box, but just at 10 games, 70 grand a week, it's just not enough. Oh, and sorry, 2 in the Carabao Cup as well. I forgot those 2.
Oh,
so let's have a look.
Burton, weren't they?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. Let's have a look. You've kept him the same as D. I dropped him down to D+. Simply because when he did come on, and those few games where he did actually start, and there wasn't many. In fact, let's have a look how many starts he actually had.
I tell you what, Chris, because I sort something out on my camera, something keeps flashing up. And while you're doing that, I'm going to guess 4. I'm going to guess 4 starts. He might have had more under Cooper, but I think maybe I'm just thinking his time at Ruud. But I'm thinking 4.
Right, Ricardo Pereira. 12 games, 6 starts, actually. Wow.
I weren't too far off.
No. And I think when he did start those 6 games, we did look a different side, and that's why I did just stick that plus on the end there. Right, coming up next.
Again, I feel like oh, God.
I do not understand the hate for this guy.
Funny that. I said that about Wout Faze, but here we are. He is my Wout Faze. He is my Wout Faze to your, I'll let you have all the positives to say about you say all the positive rubbish you want to say about this guy, and I'll tell you why he's shit. 28
games he's played this season. 12 of them were starts. I think. You're like an old woman. I think when we started with him, that we actually played better than when we started with Sumari and Ndidi. Now, presuming that if Ruud stays, we know that Winks is not going to get a starting lineup. So in the Championship, this guy may be all right. I mean, he's only 24. He looks about 64. Defensive midfielder. 26% starting 11. Got 8 yellow cards. But I mean, you gave him a C minus. I gave him a B minus. I don't think he's as bad as people make out. And they keep saying like, well, we paid 20 million for him. How much did we pay for Daka?
Yeah, very true.
And Oliver Skips just popped into the chat. He used to be Jamie Vardy, now he's Oliver Skips. So welcome along.
I'll tell you what's funny about I'll tell you what's funny about that Oliver Skip in the chat is he's taking the P. You know, he's taking the P.
When he played, and yes, he had bad games. Who didn't? Name me one player that didn't have a bad game. Even El Khanous had a bad game.
I can name one. I can name one player who didn't have a bad game. Odson Edward, because he never fucking played.
That's a very low bar to set, isn't it? You know.
You didn't ask for a fucking high bar to be set.
This was your other F. Had we been using E's and F's, Craig's actually gone for C. That's interesting, Craig. C. I think
Craig's also missing the U, the N, and the T in that. It's just he sensed it. Well done, Craig.
All right, tell me, why do you hate him so much?
He's fucking useless. Bring back Iosi Perez, Chris. I'd rather him because at least he ran around and got in people's way, whether he fell into them and accidentally knocked them off the ball, but at least he actually did some useful contributions.
You just talk for a minute. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
Yeah, no worries. Right, because I can see arguments for other players why some people love them and some people hate them. I can't understand why anybody thinks this guy's any good at football. And the reason for that being is, Chris, while you're off in the background there, I'm sure you'll get excited when I tell you this. Tell me find out for me how many starts he had, because you said he got 8 yellow cards, and I'd be half betting that he got more yellow cards than he did starts. And again, Ronald says there about 20 million. I'm not interested in the price tag. I think if he got him for free, we overpaid for him by paying his fucking wages. It's absolutely ridiculous, you know, because I believe our initial bid for him was something in the region of £5 to £8 million. But Spurs said he's homegrown. We're going to have to compensate that. So we're demanding £20 million, and we stupidly paid it. Price tag aside, Chris, he didn't do anything to justify being in that side, and had Harry Winks slept over at the training ground once a week, which he didn't have to, and I'm siding with Winks on this one, just before people.
Yeah, no, I am as well.
Right? Yeah. I don't think he'd have kicked the fucking ball, Chris. I don't think he would have played. He would not have played because Ruud would have been playing Winks. He's useless. Throw him in the same place what his last name is.
I would have been quite happy if Ruud had given Winks and Skip and they did play, I think, once together. And I didn't think they were that bad. I just don't think he's as bad as people have said. And he may come into his own in the in the Championship. He's with us till 2029 anyway, so we've got him for 3 more years unless anybody comes in and buys it. Shall we see where we went? Remembering that Craig gave him a C, shall we see where we voted him?
Yeah. Oh, Chris, fuck off. Fuck off, Chris. Fuck off. You winded me up. There's no way you get a fucking C.
I'm not.
No
Look,
way.
Craig gave him a C. You're outvoted. Craig actually went higher than me.
Yeah, I think you accidentally went to type your own name in on the report and just put a C, because that's ridiculous. Yeah.
What you? I mean, right.
No, Chris, I'm not angry about you giving him a C minus. I'll fight you and Jordan Blackwell. I'll fight you both on YouTube. I'll fight you both at the same time.
Ronald says more like we're stuck with Skip for 3 years.
Yeah.
Right, let me go through this then.
Put the recycling in.
You gave Daka a U.
Yeah, in fact, I think I'd rather give Daka a U. Did he what?
Is he as bad as Daka?
So I didn't know. He's worse.
No.
In fact, remembering what I put now, I wish I could change Daka to a U plus just so I don't tarnish his reputation.
Well, you also gave James Justin a U.
That's positional reasons.
I think
some come with circumstances. That's just what it is.
No, I just think you are being totally unfair.
I think me and Ronald have. I think there's two people in here. There's a combination of 4 people in this chat right now. 2 of us have brains and 2 of us don't. And it's you and Craig that don't have the brain. It's me and Ronald that do have the brain. And ironically, I've got the bloody McDonald clown on my side. That says it all, doesn't it, Ronald? I mean, we've got it up here. You're thinking with the other end of your brain cell. I don't know what's going on giving C minuses for Skip.
Opinions, mate. Opinions.
Again, Chris, to answer the question. How many starts did he have? Was it more or less than his yellow cards? For an 8, you've gone higher than an 8.
Well, I will tell you, he got 8 yellow cards.
We've gone higher than an 8 for starts.
And he had 12 starts. 12 starts.
You've got it! You're on 10x board. Wow. So he got 4 more fucking starts he did cards. I tell you what, he nearly got perfect match.
Shows that he's competitive.
Shows that he can't tackle. That's what it shows.
Well, are you ready for the next one?
See, Craig's felt the shame of his own grading. He's had to leave. He's left. He cannot stand being around us no more. He's had enough. He's thought, no, I'll give us a seat.
Craig, don't go, Craig. Come back. Yeah, I need the support. Right, here we go, because it's time for this.
Yeah. The man I built my redemption arc at FC from. Hold on, guys.
I love you, Samari.
So the tongue action. Let me lend you these again, Chris, because I believe that's a B plus for both of us on the Ruud van Nistelrooy thing. So go on.
Pre nude van. And he said nude then.
Well, your ex-wife, you're going to be in pre, aren't you?
But excuse me, I mean, you know.
You dodged that one, didn't you? You dodged that one.
No. I mean, you know, you love this guy more than I know. I mean, I don't love Wout Faes, and I gave him 1 man of the match. I'm sure you gave this guy a few man of the matches.
I was not alone on that one, though, Chris. He got universally voted as Alan's man of the match a few times as well. So,
Alan. No. Alan's sensible. He would never have done that.
I guarantee you. There's at least one case of Alan giving him man of the match. I'm telling you. Yeah, see? Come on, some more supporters.
So is he that good then that you're going to show an improvement? Are you?
No, because he dropped off. He dropped off like a sack.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, it wasn't a cliff. Do you ever see Cliff that when Cliff Richard did Saviour's Day? He was walking along a cliff tops. It was one of his Christmas singles, and somebody said, "Missed an opportunity, Cliff Richard on a cliff, and knew nobody there to push him off." You know. Well, look,
he could have been dangling off it, so he could have been a cliffhanger then, couldn't he?
hey.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
I'll give you that one, mate. I'll give you that one. I like that one. Right. D+. I went down to a U. This guy's been shit apart from one game.
No, he had a mini purple patch in between Cooper and the Ruud van Nistelrooy area, didn't he? But I will agree, Chris.
What, that one match when there was no manager?
No, 3. No, in these last 10 or so games, typical Frenchman, he gave up. Who knew? Give up halfway through the fight. And he's one that I don't care if it's £4 million. I don't care what we paid for him. I'm fully in that boat, Chris. The drop off was disappointment. Chris, he had all the highest potential to push on this season and really reform, Redemption Arc FC. And I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. Chris, I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed.
He's very disappointed in you, Babakari. He's 26. He was actually born in a place called Noisy Lesec. Where do you live? I live in Noisy. But he's got 12 months on his contract, so hopefully we can sell him. Otherwise, there's another one that we'll be losing all the money on. Booba seems to play when he wants, rubbish when he doesn't. Well, he obviously didn't want to play at all this season, did he? Yeah. Shall we move on?
Yeah, let's.
If there was ever one player that sums up your Redemption Arc FC,
here he is. It's not Stolarczyk.
No.
You've got ahead of yourself, haven't you?
I'd forgot. Well, Stolarczyk, we didn't have him at half time, so he's on a different list from the last one. Luke Thomas. We'll jump to Luke Thomas. You gave him a U. Yeah. I gave him a D-. I think we were both way off the mark.
Well, yeah, but we hadn't seen him play. But in the first half, Chris, I think you gave him a D- to be nice to him, and I gave him a U because we hadn't seen him play. He was on the back of 2 failed loanees at Sheffield United and Middlesbrough, and it looked like, and I won't besmirch anybody for saying this, it looked like for all the world that his time at Leicester was done and he was going to be cast out during the January transfer window because we couldn't get rid of him in the summer. But like you said, Chris, spearheading Redemption FC, those that tried and failed, Luke Thomas succeeded, and he was my golden student. I'm very proud of him, and he proved everybody, including myself, wrong in that back end of the season.
The reason I went for a D- because I feel he was one of those players that everybody just wanted to hate because we need to hate a player. You know, we would have been up shit creek that season we were in Europe under Brendan if we hadn't had Luke Thomas.
Yeah.
You know, and he I don't think he was as bad as people were making out. And look, he wasn't that he broke into the team. He was dragged into the team, screaming and shouting because we had nobody else. And I think when you look at his performances, he could play that left wing-back role, if you like, but he could also play, as he did a couple of times, and I think that was when he probably had some of his best games, left of the back three.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, twice we've agreed. We'll make that 3.
Yes, that star student for me, because the redemption was so remarkable, Chris. Because the reason we gave the grades we did, or marked him down as low as we did, came off the memories of him getting torn to shreds. And at a young age, Chris, and he still is a youngster, right? That can be mentally damaging. And I think it speaks volumes, Chris, to him as a professional and as a person, and his mental strength, Chris, to take all the bashings he took, to take all the setbacks he's had, all the boos and what the fuck is he doing? Why the fuck did he play? All that going on from the crowd, whether it was at Middlesbrough, Sheffield United, Leicester fans, it didn't matter. To come back in the manner that he did is truly inspiring to any youngster that thinks about giving it up, because it's just not happening and the fans are on the back and they don't know how to handle it. Go and ask Luke Thomas how he dealt with, from the age of 18 to what is he now, 22, 23?
24 he is now.
Yeah, from about 18, 19 onwards, Chris, he's had everything against him. Too young, shouldn't be in the team, but we've got another option, so we're stuck with him and he's crap. Oh, he's not good enough. Oh, yeah, he scored that goal against Man U, but he's gone shit. Everything has gone against him. And to come back and have that last quarter of the season, what he's had, Chris, where he actually started to overshadow El Canoes, Chris, because we almost got bored of giving El Canoes a man of the match. It was nice to have Luke Thomas be in discussion. You know, I gave a B+, I think it was, or a B to El Canoes. So most people probably gave Bilal.
You gave him a B+, I gave him an A+, yeah.
Yeah. Now, like you, Chris, most people probably would have gave him top student awards. But I think when your standards here and you go up to here, that's why I gave him a B+. When you're down, so far down it's off screen in people's expectations, and then you would go up to here, that sort of area, I think you deserve all the A+ in the, you know, on an offer. And I cannot praise this youngster enough. And I know he's 24, he's not quite a youngster, but I can't praise the lad enough. You know?
Again, I mean, Ronald said there, late developer.
Yeah.
Quite possibly, but
like Casey McAteer, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, again, a player. We should be basing our defence around this guy. Whether we're playing him as the left side of a back 4, the left side of the back 3, or the left wing back, he can do all of those. I think for whatever reason, Enzo didn't particularly rate him. He went to Sheffield United that did their best to be worse than Derby. We're nearly worse than Southampton, but we're actually the 3rd worst. Let him go, and then never got any better. Yeah. Went to Middlesbrough, didn't work out for him there. He's gone back, and to say that this is the guy that everybody used to pull to bits, and yet we're now, to say, as I'm talking about, making the back 4 or the defence around this guy.
Yeah, and with Enzo, actually, we brought in Callum Doyle, didn't we, on loan, we actually had a manager that played Justin left back and not right back. So you may have forgot that we actually played Justin that side.
I forgot.
I know, Chris. Yeah, see,
Justin at left back. Who knew? Who knew?
Who knew it?
Right, let's jump back to Mr. Stolarczyk. That's Thomas, that's Stolarczyk. Hang on. I've done it twice. So good we did it twice. Look, there we go. Anyway, he never got any games under Steve Cooper. And you can understand he did not get any games under Steve Cooper because Mads Hermansson, you weren't going to drop him, were you? Because, he was our number 1 and deservedly so at that point. You've given him an A. I've given him an A+. I mean, let's just have a look. I mean, you talk to me about him. You're the goalkeeper amongst us. He's going to be, if as is likely that Hermansen goes, this is going to be our number one.
Yeah, he is, and he thoroughly deserves it, Chris. I personally have not been as confident in a number 2 stepping up to replace a number 1
Since Danny Ward.
No, shut up. Since I was and almost this could be a little bit of redemption for another goalkeeper in that sense of seeing it happen when he got casted aside. And by that, I mean someone who was a very favourable goalkeeper at Leicester. I was very confident that when Casey Keller left Leicester City, my idol in that department, obviously we know a certain Turkish international, Mustafa Izzet is my idol out there, but as a goalkeeper...
You wrote into Jim will fix it and he sorted it for you.
He did. But I have not been as confident in a goalkeeper going from number 2 to number 1 as I was what I expected with a certain Peggy Al-Faxad. Al-Faxad was very reliable, and all right, he came under the tag of cup goalkeeper, didn't he? Because penalties and and all that. But I was, and I know he was, and he said this before in interviews, he was expecting. Sorry, give me a minute, mate.
Yeah, let me talk a bit then about him. He's 24. He's got 2 years of his contract left. I expect Stolarczyk to be moving on during the summer, although Chelsea, I think, have bought another goalkeeper, Man City have bought a goalkeeper, but I do expect him to move on. He's one of the assets that, let's be honest with you, we can get a bit of money for. Would I worry about this guy moving up? Not at all. I would have been very, very happy with Stolarczyk being the number 1 and Iversen being the number 2, because I think Iversen's a fair goalkeeper as well. And look, he's moved on to Preston. He was on loan at Preston for a long time. He said he really, really enjoyed it at Preston, so why shouldn't he go there? And I understand, because he wanted the move. He wants to play regularly. He's not happy sitting on the bench. Some footballers want to actually play football. But this guy, again, 24 years old, the same as Thomas, McAteer. These are the players we should be building our team round. If Matt stays, then maybe he might have to wait another year. But I think Matt's going. And like you say, I have every confidence in this guy stepping up. Yeah,
agree, Chris. Sorry. Just had to mute for a minute. I'll sort my camera out in a minute. But I felt that Stolarczyk is that step. Again, you're talking asset sales. I do feel that Stolarczyk is one of them that maybe some part of him knows that, I talked in the other show, the first part, I think he should have stayed in goal after that win against Tottenham and had at least 3 or 4 games to allow Madsen a chance to get fully fit. And I feel like Stolarczyk, if somehow Leicester were to keep hold of a Madsen, would know that a Madsen's a ticking time bomb in his time at Leicester. He's not going to become a Kasper Schmeichel. So he knows if it's not this season, I'm definitely going to get my chance to be the number 1 next season. I don't think it'll be that case. Like you said, Chris, he's got value to him as a Madsen. So is Stolarczyk. I'm surprised a few clubs haven't tried to kind of get him, why he's still maybe valued at about 20-odd million. And, thankfully, Man City have signed another goalkeeper, and thankfully, Chelsea have signed their 37th goalkeeper. So, he won't be number 37th choice for Chelsea. But yeah, Chris, I'm very, very confident. Like I said, I know it never happened for Peggy Al-Faxad, but that's the last time I remember looking at our reserve or second choice goalkeeper and going, yeah, you know what? If so-and-so moves on, I'm happy to have him as our goalkeeper. And that's why I gave him an A, Chris, because I think, imagine if we'd have had him in that period, Chris, where we couldn't get a point.
Totally. And you know what? He had more clean sheets than Madsen Manson as well. He had 2.
He did. So how many could he have got had he played at Fulham at home and Crystal Palace at home when they weren't turning on that red hot form?
Okay, let me point this out. Remember this. So Stolarczyk, he had 10 appearances, conceded 16 goals, 2 clean sheets. Let me just see how that did compare to Hermansen, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it. I mean, to be fair, Chris, there was a lot more things about Stolarczyk that I think would have benefited of this season. Most notably, and I know it's a bit of a broken record, but that Everton game, which really just ended our season, I know there was still a lot of games to go after the Everton game, but that really just killed us off, was not just how quickly we ironically how quickly we conceded that game, but the 2 goals that Beto scored, or whatever his name was, scored, I felt like Stolarczyk, being in good form, good fitness, game time under his belt, would have just run out and cleared the ball and booted it out. He just baffles me. You don't want to say certain one player makes a difference. I'm not saying by any chance that he's better than Madsen, because Madsen had that Danish ability about him to make him, he's 5 foot something. He makes himself look 6'4" with some of the saves he makes. But I feel like had we stuck with Jakob, or at least extended his stay in goal, we could have maybe picked up a few more points, Chris.
Well, interestingly, I had to use my calculator on this. So
it wasn't per points per game, was it, Chris? It would have kept us up, wouldn't it? Would it not have? Would you?
You won't let that. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to play it again. Because you deserve this.
Let it go. Let it go.
No, I will never let it go. Remember you asking? Oh, we got 9 points after 9 games. But how many points will we have at the end? Let me get the calculator out. And
one mistake all season, and you won't.
One mistake. Yeah.
Well, here we go. Let me tell you. So, Stolarczyk played 10 games. Madsen Manson 27.
Okay.
Danny Ward played a couple early on.
You don't count him. He can fuck off.
No. Goals conceded. Stolarczyk 16. Madsen Manson 58.
So
2 clean sheets for Stolarczyk, 1 for Hermansen. Now, both of these goalkeepers were behind the same defenders. Let's remember that. Stolarczyk conceded 1.6 goals per game. Madsen Manson 2.1.
Yeah, it just.
And as Ray said there, we only got our results with Stolarczyk in goal. Obviously, it's not science that, but it does make you wonder, doesn't it? It does, and the saves he was making in that Bournemouth game.
Yeah, there were some very, very good saves, and again in the Tottenham game, he made a few good saves in that one, and okay, you could say, oh yeah, but Stolarczyk wasn't in goal for Arsenal home and away and Chelsea home and away. Even if you went down the entire list of games Stolarczyk and Hermansen played, I'm pretty sure with the amount of games they played, you would go, what was the result when we played against both oppositions when they were in goal? I think apart from the Bournemouth one, because obviously Hermansen's 1 clean sheet was Bournemouth at home, we lost the last game of the season, you'd probably find that they're either even, or maybe even Stolarczyk had the nod on less goals conceded throughout. You know what I mean, Chris? If you match up who they play.
Yeah, I know totally what you mean. I know that totally. Right. Well, we're going to come on to the GOAT now, but I want to say keep an eye out for this, because those of you that remember, I have been doing a series of Project Reset ones. They're all available under the Project Resale, Project Reset list on the YouTube channel, which is shown there. Number 1 was relegation and what it means for Leicester. Number 2 is who's gone next season. Number 3, is it time for the youngsters? Number 4 is time up for King Power. Number 5, choosing our next manager. Number 6, sack the board. Number 7, should fans be taking the blame for their actions and the way that they have been jeering? We've got one coming up. Not sure if it's Thursday or Friday at 7 o'clock yet. The players. Did the players turn it off? We're going to have some ex-players on to discuss that. Click that notification bell, and when it does go live, you won't miss it. And please, if you do enjoy the banter that we have here, QR code there for our TikTok page. So when you watch a show like this, and this is why we've done these 2 shows to keep them short, we do clips from it. They go up onto TikTok. I think we're about 600 subscribers or followers on that. You need to get to 1,000. We're going to start doing some lives on TikTok. God knows how I'm going to do that. I've never done it before. But there we go. Join us for that. And like I say, please do subscribe and click that notification bell, because that one is going to get interesting. Hoping to have Steve Lynix on. We know what Steve Lynix is like. He doesn't keep mince his words, does he, Brad?
No, he does not. He will be. If his middle name could be changed, it would be controversial. Let's say that.
Certainly.
Drama, to say the least.
Right, here we go then. So, Mr. Vardy. Now, I hadn't realised you gave him a C under under Steve Cooper. I gave him an A-. Looking back, and I still can't believe we're not going to be seeing him next season. But looking back, I just think most of his goals came under Steve Cooper.
Yeah. Again, tells you the managerial style and who got the best out of what we had. It's almost like you should have kept him just because he was ex-Notts Forest, and maybe the fans do take a bit of responsibility for that. Check out the show, guys, and see what Chris and the gang say about it, because I can concur in that the fans have to hold their hands up, because stats don't lie, do they, Chris? You do love them, so I'll give you that one.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. We embraced Mes Morgan, and where did he come from? Yeah,
and didn't we? Chris, remind me, Chris, who got us promoted to the Premier League? It was back in the 90s. Got us to go to the UEFA Cup, and we played Atletico Madrid. Won us 2 League Cups, I believe. Got us to 3 finals in 4 seasons. Martin
O'Neill.
Yeah, that was it. Who did he manage and do things for, Chris?
He played 2 things for. Oh, I don't know that. I don't know him that well, but he used to play. Well, probably he was quite good at this. He used to play for, would you believe, Nottingham Forest.
Oh, well, there you go then, don't you? There you go.
I've got a question for you here, though. I mean, it was interesting that he had, 11, 12 games. Steve Cooper got it. We were in 16th or something when we sacked him, and yet we kept Ruud van Nistelrooy for games, and he's still here. Funny that, isn't it? It's almost like people don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
The question I have for you here is, would Vardy still be staying with us for maybe one more season? Because he still thinks he's got it in him to be in the Premier League. And if he's used right as that super sub rather than a starter, do you think he'd have still stayed if we'd got a different director of football?
Well, it's hard to know. I think the bigger question is, would he have stayed had we stayed up? That's the thing. I think it really is. I feel like the director of football probably had the least influence on Vardy staying as long as he did with us. We obviously know Nigel Pearson played a big part in him even having the career he's had. I feel more his loyalty and kind of pay it forward to the loyalty that was shown to him by the club and the fan base to stick around as doing it. And that's why I think he's been here as long as he had. And if he was a few years younger, Chris, I don't think he'd be going anywhere this season. I think he'd want to help to get us back up. I think it's purely the fact that he's got a few things on his checklist to try and do. It's why he's eyeing up a return back to the Premier League with someone else.
Yeah, that would have nothing to do with a certain shit commentator, would it?
No, Steve McMahon didn't score that many goals. Oh, you mean Michael Shitface Owen? Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. One reason I definitely want him to go somewhere else and score like 6 goals or whatever it is.
I think you've gone down the path that I've gone down as well, is that I took my rose-tinted glasses off when I marked him for this because, yes, it was his last season. Yes, we love the guy to bits. Possibly be a statue, there never will be. But, I think, if we take all the emotion into it, we were probably going to give him A stars and all that because he got his 200th goal, etc., etc. But you actually dropped him down to a B-, and I actually dropped him down to a C because, yes, the argument is a huge argument that we did not play to his strengths. He was, we could have had primetime Messi or primetime Ronaldo up front. They wouldn't have scored any goals for us this season because we never got the ball to them. But
1 minute, mate. Keep talking.
When he did get the chance, he didn't take them. And if Daka had missed we do know Daka missed a load of chances, but if Daka had, and this is what our problem was with Daka last season, if Daka had missed those chances that Vardy had missed this season, Daka would have got absolutely roasted. He would have been Mussolini number 2. He'd have been hung, drawn and quartered and hung upside down outside Leicester Town Hall. But he didn't take his chances when he got the ball. And that's the worrying thing. I mean, 35 appearances, 9 goals, 4 assists. The fact that's in the Premier League, I should say, by the way. So, he did get a goal in the FA Cup as well. But 9 goals. And just say it's been so long since anybody has been our top goal scorer with that sort of. I think it was nine goals. I think it was Ian Hume, Mark De Vries, and possibly Joey Good-Johnson or somebody like that. That's how far back. Yeah, when 3 of them all got 9. And that's why I've gone down for a C. Yes, the ball was never got to him, but when it was, he missed some sitters. And we all went, oh, God, the Vardy of old would have got that.
Yeah, ironically, we're on the same sort of wavelength, but I've kind of flipped that on its head. I gave him a C before the Ruud era because obviously the season wasn't going well. And this season criticised a lot of his performances in front of goals.
Yeah.
The problem is, Chris, for all the criticism, we threw at him, he still managed with all them missed chances, with all them bad performances, or there was sometimes we found ourselves going barely knew he was on the pitch.
Sometimes in the first half, I think he'd had maybe 5 touches or something.
Yeah, and you know what? Some games, Chris, that was the amount of touches he got, whether he was on the pitch for 70 minutes or 90 minutes. Sometimes 5 touches all he got. And we knew this season was going to happen if we kept him and he kept playing for us. And because unfortunately he's not ageless, he does age. But in the midst of all that, Chris, because I actually did, I'll be honest with you, I did think about joining you. I was going to keep him as a C. But we sit here, and despite everything we said throughout the season about Vardy, about him going missing, about him missing chances that the old Vardy was scored, he's still by a country mile was our top goal scorer.
He was.
And that for me is why I gave him a B-. That's why I wasn't going to give him an A for sentiment reasons. I wasn't going to give him an A, but I wasn't going to give him the same grade as what he got because he achieved certain things and he did manage to finish on 9 goals. And okay, the 200 makes it a nice sweet note to end off. But realistically, Chris, despite all this was his worst season. I would say maybe his first technical season with us, but you can say, write that off because he was bedding into higher end up, higher up the football. This was his worst season statistically, probably on all fronts, Chris. In terms of goals.
I agree.
The fact that he still ended up head and shoulders above anyone else tells you how bad the season was, but just tells you how, even when the match is running out, he still had a few spells he could cast.
If I was actually going on emotion, I'd have probably kept him as an A-, because of all the emotion. But if we take that out on his actual performance, like I say, there was a lot of, and the reason he got a C and not lower was because he wasn't getting the service. But like I say, when he did, it wasn't very good. Vicky says, has he actually gone anywhere? For sure. He can't at the moment because his actual contract with us is until June the 30th, 2025. So he's actually still contracted with us for another 3 weeks or so. And I'm sure after that he will leave. We know he will leave. He's cleared his office out, hasn't he? Right. Oh, here we go. Mr. Vestergaard. Got a C off you last time and a C+ off me last time. This time, whoa, you've not moved and I've dropped slightly.
Yeah, we've talked about people's purple patches, like having a spell, bad spell, good spell, bad spell. And I don't really remember Vestergaard having a bad run in terms of performances. I think if we had a bad result, it was a collective. You know what I mean? It wasn't like we were sat there going, fuck me, why is he picking Vestergaard? He's been calamitous. No, it was the whole team was trash. And if we had an okay performance and a fairly solid back line, which was very, very rare, but even in games we conceded 2, we was trying to say it was a good performance because they didn't concede 6. But, it was because the whole defence played well. And for me, Vestergaard was, you could have renamed him Yannick Hokey Cokey because he was in and out of teams more times than your left leg was in that dance, wasn't it, Chris? Because he seemed to have block periods of in the team, out the team, in the team, out the team. I know he had a few injuries that put him out the team as well, but he also then went on that little run where he was fit and available and he wasn't getting picked. Nothing really changed, Chris. Post Cooper and season. So I couldn't really take him up, but I couldn't knock him down at the same time.
Yes, I mean, like you say, it's not his fault that he was offered a 3-year contract, and then the manager up and leaves that likes you and plays you well and knows what to get the best out of you. That wasn't his fault. He could still put, a ping a ball onto a sixpence from one end of the pitch to the other, but he couldn't run that distance. That's the problem. But what I liked about him and why I only dropped him down from half a point, if you like, was because when he was actually, when you watched him play, sometimes all he did to break up a thing is just stick his foot out and put his foot in the way. That would break the play up. But there we go. Look, that's the fourth time we've agreed.
Scary, Chris. See, I'd like to say it was a bit like the Great Escape season for Leicester. We couldn't get on the same page in the first half of the season, but in the second half, I can put results together.
Yes. Just seen breaking news here. Don't know how true it is because it's just on another fan site, but Everton are now eyeing another Leicester City player. Apparently, they were eyeing up Victor Christensen, and they're now eyeing up Wilfred Ndidi.
For 9 million, he's yours.
Yes, exactly. More on that tomorrow. Look, oh God, Harry Winks. I am so pissed off with Ruud van Nistelrooy. He is probably our best midfielder that we've got. Indeed, the dog story made me laugh. It's funny Ronald McDonald saying the dog story made him laugh. I'm not saying that McDonald's sell dogs and burgers or anything like that. Just saying. But no, look, Winks, newborn. I don't know the full story, but newborn baby, wanted to go home. Look, I've just had a grandchild, and I've been away on holiday, and I'm itching to see her again. And when it's your own child, you don't want to be away. And if Ruud van Nistelrooy couldn't be adult enough to say, fine, just go home, have the night with your child and come back the next day, then fuck off, Ruud. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, this is one of them where people are going to see what I give rating. Maybe yourself, I don't know, but this is one of them. This is definitely on the manager. This is the catalyst. We've had a few mostly on the manager, but this one is purely on the manager. Now, yeah, there was hit and miss performances on the field, but if you ever needed somebody when we were having a bit of a crisis in that midfield, Winks was the man that most people wanted to see playing, and it's just shocking, Chris, to say the least, that the whole debacle with Winks and Ruud has happened. And I will say this, Chris, I would not be surprised, even if Ruud was let go of his responsibilities and someone else was brought in, if Winks went, nah, don't even ask me, I want a new club. And the reason I say it, Chris, is this isn't a training ground bust-up. This isn't a player refusing to do what the manager's saying. This is a player saying, I understand where you're coming from, Mr. Rude Manager, sir, but I've just had a newborn child. I want to not just only be there for my child, but I want to be there for my wife and help her through that, because it's a new child and she's got to find a routine. So I'm not going to agree to do that. It's not something I'm saying flat out no to in the future, but just for maybe this season, let's not do that. And I just feel like, where was the support from the club? Where was Chris? And I don't know about you in this situation, but if I'm the owner of that football club at that particular moment and that's all gone off, I'm just calling them both into the office and going, what the fuck? Why are you asking this of him? Why is it so important? Why? And let's first off find out the obvious reason, which I already know the answer to, but please, Winks, explain to me why this is not a viable option for you to do. And let's get this sorted, because I'm not having it. And I feel like Winks might feel like the club didn't have his back, didn't step into the situation. And for me, it's a unique situation. I know sometimes it's like, don't get involved, don't do a Nottingham Forest and walk onto the pitch, and shout at your manager in broad daylight. I'm not saying anything like that. What I'm saying is, Chris, this was a unique situation where the club had to show support and sort it. And instead, they've just done this. La 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 la. There's no issue here. There's no issue here. La 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 la. And that is poor. And I think even if you got bloody Jose Mourinho in who said, no, Winks, I want you to stay, he'd go, sorry, my trust in this club is gone. I wouldn't blame him, Chris.
No, nor would I. And he's got a year left on his contract. Not surprised that the club never came out and defended him. Ronald McDonald said, I went off Winks after that Copenhagen photo. Was it? Definitely. Did it? Was it not somebody winding up? I don't know. I kind of get what you're saying there, Ronald, but I'm not 100% sure. But look, it's a bit of fun. When have we not all gone out on a night out and taken the piss out the boss? We've all done it. We've all done it. So I kind of say, let's be adult about this. I've been out on nights out and I've often dissed the boss. Do you know what I mean? Interestingly, he lives in Hemel Hempstead. I don't know his exact address, but that's where Google is telling me he lives. From Hemel Hempstead to Seagrave, it's 1 hour 31 minutes. So on a good day,
I don't think that's an unreasonable.
Yeah. When I was younger, I used to live in Burnley and work in Bury and then work in Bolton. And that was about 75 minutes drive. And I don't think that, I mean, the cars they've got these days, they'd probably be doing 90 all the way. So I don't think it's totally unreasonable either. And what we've done here is you've gone up to a D+. I have taken him down slightly because, again, he's not had the performances. Yeah, Winks was born there, but that's where they're saying he lives. I don't know whether he still does live there or not. But Harry Winks lives in Hemel Hempstead, England. He was born there, according to Wikipedia. So, yeah, D+, C-. It's a, to say Nat's dickle between them, isn't it, really? Their issues are overlooked when you're winning. When you're losing, they are magnified. Look, there's all this as well, isn't there, Brad? Like, you're professional footballers. You've got to watch what you're doing. I mean, if he did hold that sign up, I mean, did he do what was that guy that played for Man United that was accused of raping his girlfriend, then he paid her off and she dropped the charges?
Oh, Mason Greenwood.
Mason Greenwood. Winks is no Mason Greenwood. Come on, like I say, everybody's taken the piss out of him. They're the managers in time. So I just think his performances weren't up to last season, but it's a different league that we're in. Like I say, D+, C-. Yeah, it's there or thereabouts, isn't it? But we can't count that as an agreed because we didn't agree.
No. Do you want to hear some funny news, Chris?
Go on.
You know how Southgate's a wanker and Southgate's useless, and we need to get a foreign manager in, someone who's going to have a backbone. England won, Senegal 3.
England won what? One of us is frozen. I think it was you. Sorry, I missed it there.
Senegal 3.
No. Wow. I mean, we struggled to beat Albania, was it, the other day? If it works better for you to be off cam, mate, you stay off cam. We've only got one more to go anyway.
Yeah, sorry, my internet's playing up. I literally think the message is sent through to you now.
Oh yeah,
Senegal 3, England.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, come Come back, Southgate. Gareth Southgate. Honestly, there's no vodka in this Coke, I promise you. But what we didn't do...
Coke in that vodka,
no. Right, here we go. I asked you, because we hadn't done him before, to rate Steve Cooper and Van Nistelrooy. Interestingly, I'm going to say we agreed on Cooper, because we both went for C. So that's actually 5 that we've agreed on. Nistelrooy, I was surprised you went as high as a U.
Now you were, and then obviously I explained this backstage as to why, and there was only one reason behind it. We agreed with Cooper because now if you was to say rate these on who did a better job, but Steve Cooper would have an A star and Ruud van Nistelrooy would have a U minus. There is only one reason, Chris. Mine doesn't have a minus next to his name because originally, Chris, funny enough, before I sent the message to you, I put about 6 minuses next to the letter U for Ruud, and then news broke, and yeah. See, there were going to be U minuses. We were going to have 6 agreements at once, Chris. That was the scarier thought, right? Yeah. And what happened was we got confirmation that 9 youngsters were committing their future to Leicester City. Now, some of them were just players that are in the youth academy. But interestingly enough, Chris, if you was to, and maybe we could do a show on this where we pick a youth 11 for next season, potential Leicester lineup with who's here out of the youth and that. Mate, yeah, show idea there. No, not just a pretty face.
I'll write it down, I'm writing it down, mate. Write it down.
But
do you mean similar to the one that I did about a month ago?
Grey Book was one of them. Yeah, exactly. That one. That's copyright ideas. Yeah, you didn't put the infringement on it. It's all right. But my point is, Chris, some them players came with 2 very key, 3 potentially very key names in that. We obviously know Brandon Cover is a youngster that is going to get promoted and look for out. That Aluko, or however you say his name, came on against Bournemouth at the end. Now, so that's suggesting that that's somebody that Leicester are going to want to build around potentially next season. Braybrook, who we've been waiting for his return, spent the season out alone. He's here. Stolarczyk was another one. But 2 very notable names, Chris. One you mentioned in part 1, so I get a chance to give Wayne a second mild orgasm here. Jeremy Monga. Who even up until about 3 or 4 days ago when this news was confirmed, Chris, we was potentially saying the only way we're going to convince Jeremy Monga his future, at least for the next season or 2 at least, lies with Leicester and would better benefit him and be more beneficial to him staying here, was we're going to promise him first team football. He's going to become part of the furniture at Leicester. He's going to play majority of next season, or at least, even if it's off the bench most weeks, he's still going to get a lot of game time. Stay with us, commit to us. You don't go to Man City because all you're going to do is get loaned out by them. And all right, you'll get the youth and that, but that's fine. But why, when you can get first team experience, it's invaluable. That is the only plus point I can give to Ruud. Because if he didn't pick him, now whether he had his arm twisted, gun to his head to do so, I don't know. But for all the bad things, and there's a lot of them, we don't want to be on for another 4.5 hours talking about all the things Ruud did wrong. If you're going to say one thing Ruud got right, Brad, think about it and give me one thing he did right. It was making sure that he at least gave the impression to Jake Evans and Jeremy Monga that it's far more beneficial they stay at Leicester.
Jake Evans going down to by the way.
No, but again, a bit like the Monga thing, this has been talked about. And okay, Jake Evans hasn't dotted the I's and crossed the T's and all that on the contracts yet.
Yeah.
Only because there's no I's and T's in his name. But you know what I mean? Like,
you're on form this evening.
I'm on fire. Oh, no, I really am.
You are. Yeah.
But you're going to have a few clips from me today. You're going to love that. But no, my point still stands, Chris. We're going to criticise players and managers and whatever for bad things they've done. Whether you like it or not, he could have gone my way or the highway. I don't care how good you think he is. He's not playing in my team. Man City pay us £2.50. Monga goes on in 5 years' time, be the next fucking Kevin De Bruyne. And we're sat here wanting to shoot Ruud in the face. What's happened is we've potentially got a chance. Maybe he does in 5 years' time become the next Kevin De Bruyne at Man City. But at least now we've got a chance to actually say to Man City, it's going to fucking cost you. You know what I mean, Chris? If he develops as well as what we've seen, and that's why his U stayed. He was a U and not a U minus from me.
Well, I take on board what you're going to say. I'm just going to argue with you slightly there, because I think if I was Jeremy Monga or Jeremy Monga's dad, I'd be saying, you know what? Don't trust a fucking word that bullshitter says, because he talks a lot of bullshit. That week when he said Jake Evans and Jeremy Monga are going to be in the starting lineup at the end of this week, he actually came out and said that. So Jake Evans was there going, Mom, I'm in the team. Mom, I'm going to be at the team, telling all his mates. Goes up to Saturday. Monga's there. Where's Evans? Not even picked for the bench. So you've also got to think that had Monga not signed, the only reason that maybe he played Monga was to ensure that if the fact that we'd played him, because I said this to Rob Tanner, we play him, we get more money from the tribunal, because we can turn around and say, look, we're intending to play him. So maybe it was that. I've got to say, I would give more credit. I can't believe I'm going to say this. I would probably give more credit for the Monga signing to a certain. Let me think. If we can pull him away from mending the ladies' away toilets, we might have a word with him. Do you know who I'm thinking of?
Yeah, is it Cheeks Magoni? Is that who it is? Cheeks Magoni, yeah.
That's him. That's him.
Yeah.
John Rodkin. Because he's yeah, totally. But he's the one that's got to sit down, talk to the parents and what have you. So let's give him some credit for those that he's got confirmed, as in Evans, hopefully. I think, like you say, it's just a case of dotting the I's and crossing the T's. But Braybook signed an extension. Monga signed it. So look, we hate. Apparently, everybody hates John Rudkin. Give him a bit of credit for getting those across the line. But there we go, and that's it for another season, Brad. And it's hitting me because when I'm doing the tags for these shows now, I'm having to tag in the championship clubs.
Oh God!
I know. It's hitting home. It's hitting home. Look, I'm going to let you go, mate, because it's been a long night tonight. Really do appreciate your time. Maybe we'll do that next week. That pick a 11 for next season. We could do it on who we think will still be here. You pick yours, I'll pick mine, and see how many we appeal. Get back to 4-4 bloody 2. That's what I say. Guys, don't forget. Thursday and Friday. It looks like we could have 2 shows. We have got Steve Leinix on Friday. We've got Julian Watts on Thursday. And Thursday night at 7, we've got Manny coming on to discussing a few managers that we could be going for. Tomorrow, I'm actually having a night off. I'm down the pub. Yeah. Brad, thank you very much, mate.
Yeah, no problem. Good to see everybody. And take care. And let us know with that that stream for next week for the show. That'd be a good one.
I will do. And if you want to see more of Brad's jokes, subscribe to TikTok. There we go. Get over there. And we can do some TikTok lives. Brad, have a good weekend, mate. Really appreciate your help. Thanks to everybody that was in the chat. Really appreciate that as well. And if you're watching on Catch Up, add your comments below. Always appreciate it. And if you've been listening via your favourite podcast platform, thank you very much for lending us your ears. Good night, Brad. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network.
TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.